Hey Tubesters, so I kind of got an intuitive hit to, well actually it's been something that I've been thinking about doing for a while, and that's going back to doing my weekly readings that I used to do on that old channel, and I just, I think it'd be really fun, honestly, so I decided that I would start this week. And basically what I'm doing is I'm doing the same reading for y'all that I do for myself every Sunday. And for me, Sunday begins the week. And basically I call this spread Wisdom for the week. And what it is, it's a 3-card spread with Tarot and Oracle. And the 3 cards basically symbolize the beginning, middle, and end of the week. So the first card touches upon Sunday and Monday. The middle card or the second card touches upon Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then the last card touches upon Friday and Saturday. And so I'm using the Witch's Tarot and the Witch's Wisdom Oracle. Over here I have the books for these because I like to read intuitively as well as with the book. If you don't agree with that or like it, then maybe just don't watch this video or just don't take it to heart or whatever. If you find that these messages don't work for you, feel free to just do the same. You can disregard them. But I wanted to try and do this again just to kind of re-spark up my reading abilities, because they did go a little dormant for a while just working with playing cards, I'm not gonna lie. So there may be a little more book reading than I used to do, just because I've been, well, first of all, these are new decks for me. And second of all, well, they're not like brand new, but they're still relatively new. And also, like I said, I haven't read Oracle and Tarot in a while. And when I did, it was like Universal Weight, or basically the Standard Rider Weight Tarot. And it was the Earth Magic Oracle, Angel Magic, those decks that I had for like a year plus. I think the Angel deck I've had for like 2 or 3 years. So decks I'm really familiar with. So it may be a little slow and a little more book reading than I would prefer for myself, for one, and for two, would normally do. So anyway, I want to tell you what crystals I have here. I always use this amethyst in my readings. I even have it sit on my deck of playing cards. Oops, that's the backside. Just to kind of like charge them, since they're not a typical type of divination card makeup, if that made any sense. So I have my amethyst here for, and this one actually, I don't know if I can show it on camera, but this one actually has like a rainbow flash in it, a little one, like I think 1 or 2. And so I use this to enlighten, kind of bring about a raising vibration of psychic ability, intuition, etc. And to kind of like let this reading be understandable to me, and in this case also for you, also for protection. I have the blue calcite over here, and I have this for basically communication. Is let this message be communicated well to me, as well as me communicating the message well to you, so that way you can understand it. And that kind of brings us to this point here, which I'm actually feeling inspired to turn outwards. And so this to me is, it's actually pointing to y'all. I don't know if the camera's picking it up. It is a small point, but this is to bring clarity as the message is being directed to y'all. And basically, again, to that clarity of understanding and all that good stuff. So I already told you the decks that I'm using and how I'm going to do the reading. So I'm just going to move the Oracle deck to the side. Now the way that I do the Oracle reading is, or shuffling rather, is that I do it until the cards fall out. And that's like recently just started, I think just today actually. That's what I've been feeling called to do. Now with the Tarot cards, however, I'll do my normal, it's technically a 9 shuffle, but I do it 3 different ways. So like I'll shuffle, well, y'all see it in here. I do 3 normal like side shuffles, then 3 reversed side shuffles, and for some reason I always reverse the right half of the deck, and then I do 3 of the like vertical shuffles, and then I'll pull 3 cards from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, in like that order. And another thing I want to say is that instead of like upright and reversed or anything like that, I say brightened for upright and shadowed for reverse. And to me, that kind of just seems a little more, it just resonates more. It makes it seem like it doesn't touch upon positive or negative, just duality, I guess. So let's get started with the spread. Oh, I also knock my deck 3 times to kind of awaken the energies around me. And so I'm gonna do a quick silent, well, actually no, I'll do an out loud prayer for y'all. I'm gonna bring both decks in this space. So I was thinking about doing a live video, but I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to do this with the time that I have. So yeah, I didn't want to do a live video, plus I didn't want to be nervous of doing this reading with y'all or have the comments distract me or anything. So maybe in the future I'll do live readings when I feel more confident and also have more time. But right now I'm just going to do these pre-recorded ones. Okay. And I'll be using generic. I'll be addressing deity in a generic way, so that way it's not as personal, and the reading can be more generalized for y'all, and it's more likely to be attuned with what you need for this week. So I call on the God and Goddess. I call on my spirits that help me within this lifetime. And I call on the spirits of all those who watch this and will watch this in the near future within this week of the 12th of March to the 23rd of March. May this reading be understandable for me as well as for those watching this. May it be accurate and help me to deliver this message as clearly and precisely as possible, so that way they can understand and get the best from this reading. Help my mind to be clear and stable as I'm reading these cards today, so that way I can get the most from this spread and be able to deliver with accuracy the most to my viewers. So mote it be. Okay, so let's get started with the spread, shall we? What do my tubesters need to know for this week of the 17th to 23rd? What themes will come up? Alright, so Sunday and Monday we have the Shadowed 8 of Wands. So that's telling me right now off the top of my head that there's going to be little to no movement in the beginning of this week. So we have the Brightened Hanged Man, which to me talks about times for like reflection or meditation. We also have the Raven, which is interesting since I just talked to y'all about that Raven story, which is telling me that he's looking very intensely at the Hanged Man, who's having this halo, which is telling me that they're that this is a time to receive wisdom and divine wisdom, go into solitude, and that you'll maybe even need to work with Raven medicine, which talks about being your authentic self. And I have to just say, I'm surprised that this is going so well as it is, but anyway, tapping into your authentic self and listening to the messages that Raven has to tell you this time. I'm going to say it's a Raven just because of how it is. Raven tends to have less of a sleek look. The feathers are a little more, I don't want to say ruffled, but a little more messy, and the beak seems to be stronger like the Raven. So I'm going to say this is a Raven. So even if you don't see a physical Raven this week, specifically from Tuesday to Thursday, which is what this card is for, maybe reach out to Raven, see what it has to offer you as being how to figure out ways to implement in your day-to-day life of being your authentic self. Maybe that's meditating, or which is interesting because that came up in my personal reading as well, to work with the element of air and to meditate. I also forgot to mention this is fire, so it's kind of interesting. So I guess this is going to be like, would be equivalent to like a dull flame. So Sunday and Monday is going to have that dull flame, slow energy, not a lot of activity going on, maybe a slow start to the week is what I'm getting. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, again, tap into that slow movement. If I remember correctly, Hanged Man is connected to the element of water, and so we have this shining pentacle. I don't know if y'all can see it in here, but it's in the center of where where the trunk and these two branches meet. And to me, that's also talking about working with earth, maybe like ancient wisdom, which is something that Raven can tend to bring. It can bring ancient wisdom because of ravens talk to each other from generation to generation. They share what they know, and this kind of says to me that there's a familiarity between Raven and you. So maybe build that connection, get familiar with Raven spirit and Raven medicine, and because I have a feeling that they're going to help you. So for Friday and Saturday, we have the the Wheel of the Year, which is basically the Wheel of Fortune, which is what I understand it to be as like abundance, and also like, in this case, like a balance. Since it's talking about the Wheel of the Year, it's talking about attaining balance by the end of the week. So this says that there's going to be probably a good success. So it's going to be a little rocky and slow in the beginning of the week, but by the end of the week, you're going to feel, I just got feeling charged and feeling successful and accomplished. That's another word that just came to me. So let's see what guidance we receive in addressing these themes and the circumstances, events that happen for the week. Oh, we have one card already. Oh, excuse me. We have 3 cards. That's a first. Usually it's like 1 card at a time that pops out. Okay, so these would have been like this. So that means that this goes here, this goes here, and this goes here. Oh, wow. I did a reading for someone yesterday. We had like a little pizza party, and I was helping someone study, and someone else just joined in for the fun, for the pizza. And in the tarot, the Death card came up. So that's really interesting. So what this is telling me is to work with your Magistellus, or if you call it familiar, or an imp. I know that's another word that's for it. So we have Toad and Cat. Cat's all about tapping into magic, especially with the brow chakra. That's what I'm getting with this highlighted star right there. And then Toad's about Toad's always a message from my matron, which is very interesting because I called for my spirits to help me, and we got a Toad here. That is a Toad, right? Yeah, that's a Toad. And to me, they're always about, well, Toad is my protection spirit. Oh, where's my pentacle? That's interesting. Oh, here it is. And it's all about transformation, especially emotional transformation, but transformation as a whole. And so this is saying maybe work, if you have a physical Magistellus familiar, magic guardian, whatever you wish to call it, maybe work with it during this time while it's slow, use that as a time to maybe connect with them. I'm getting a lot of connecting with nature, of course, but specifically the animal kingdom, since we have 3 animals showing up in this spread. So this would be a good time to connect with the animal kingdom. And I'm trying to remember, yeah, I had an animal pop up in my reading too. I had the owl pop up in my reading. So yeah, this is very interesting how my reading is still relatively similar to yours. So we have, interesting how we have sabbats popping up for here, and both of them are harvest sabbats. So, and if you remember, I said that this is a time of like harvesting enlightenment. And it's interesting how Samhain death popped up, because the raven is also about death. So this is really screaming to me that this is a time for transformation. And that's actually relatively tied into my reading as well, because I got the Shadow 10 of Swords and Imbolc for Awakening, which is all about a transformation. And this is more about like me initiating a transformation, whereas here it seems like a transformation is already in progress. So maybe this is saying that for some people you're already going through a transformation, and for some of you maybe you need to initiate a transformation like I do. I love how they have the turnips and the pumpkins, which kind of to me symbolizes old ways melding with new ways, which is a big thing for transformation, which ties into death, which is major changes. So this is telling me to just embrace the change in and of itself. You know, this marking on her face, or his face, and the coloring of his eyes is traditionally ugly. So embrace what's not maybe beautiful, what you maybe wouldn't like to see, or like to experience. Embrace it anyway. I'm not familiar with this plant matter, so maybe the book will tell me that. Over here we have Lunasa, or Lammas, which is all about the first harvest. This is also about prosperity, it says down here. So to me, this is saying, it really goes in sync with this Wheel of the Year card, which I'm talking about, which I said was a time of balance and success and achievement, accomplishment, which is kind of what I got in mine as well. Mine was more about like self-initiating these things, where it seems like y'all, it's like, it's out there for the taking, if that makes any sense. So I had the Brightened Lovers and the Chalice Fulfillment. And so to me, that was more about making choices and stuff that would bring about being fulfilled and all that. But to me, this is about the first, this says, what am I trying to say? This is the first harvest. Lammas Lunasa is the first harvest. So this is about really taking in those riches that you've earned at the end of the week, probably from that meditation that you did. A good day to do meditation is Wednesday. That's a good time for like meditations with communicating. So maybe if you want to communicate with the animal kingdom, you can do that on Wednesday. And then you can, so I would say do Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday meditate. Tuesday, you can communicate with your passions and your emotions, and because Tuesday is connected to Mars, which is all about your passions. And I also connect that with the sacral chakra, which is your seat of emotions. Wednesday is good for communication and Mercury. So, and Mercury is tied to Hermes, who is a psychopomp to go between the worlds. So that would be really helpful to work with that type of chi, of working with animal spirits and maybe communicating, getting their messages and their medicine from that. And then Thursday is all about spiritual advancement and enlightenment. So, and that's kind of what the Hanged Man is connected to as well, about getting that enlightenment. So maybe spend some time on those days doing those type of meditations, going with that type of intention, if you will. Embrace the change, embrace what's may not be pleasant. Know that some things of the old can probably still carry over. Maybe not exactly the same, but they will have a resemblance. And that just proves of the spiral of time, that even though like a point may meet up with the initial point, it technically is exalted and it will have some type of changings, but it will also have some similarities as well. And like I said, end of week, you're gonna have this balance and this attainment. So I'm gonna, I'm trying to see how much time I have here. I don't think I have much time, so I won't do the readings on the video, but I'll put them in the description box, and so feel free to check that out. As always, thank you for watching, and abundant and eternal blessings.